I've got this prepped. I've gone around now with the centre punch and just tried to push that in a bit like he told me to. I've done the same here. But I've also cleaned that up. I had to go with the old head of putting some lead there, but the amount of heat I've got to put into this casting to get it hot enough to melt the lead and get it to stick, it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to go and get some of that special JB stuff. And it's supposed to do the job. I had another look at that stuff. I think it is some sort of an epoxy. So, yeah, I'm going to have to get the right petrol radiator cap too, because it's only a 5 psi system, this cooling system. And apparently you don't put anything higher than that on it, because it'll blow out it'll wreck the engine quicker. So we don't want that. I want to get the correct PSI fuel cap for this, only 5 PSI. Got these boot hinges here, but I don't really want to just put that straight onto the paint. So I'm going to make it like a gasket. I've got this thin plastic. I've got two types. Got this softer stuff. I think this one here will be better. It's very thin. So I'm just going to make a little gasket for there and there for both of them. It's the sort of thing I'm going with. You can't even see it. But I just don't want to. I don't want that steel to just hit the paint. So I'll just use that little punch thing. I'll punch 2 holes here. Well, that sits like that, and I'll just go around it with that thing there. Well, you can't even see those. Like when it's on the car, you won't see it at all. But the same thing here. I've just cut a little hole there. Put that down. I'll mark this hole, and I'll just go around it with that thing there. I normally put it in that, so then I can cut right around it, and that'll be done. I'll just make the other one, and that's ready to put onto the boot lid, and it can pretty much go on. But I don't have I still haven't got a seal for the boot, so I've got to work something out there. I don't want to scratch it or put it on without seal. So we'll see what I can come up with. The hinges on, they're not tight because it's going to need a bit of adjusting. Like you can't even see that plastic stuff I put there. I'm really happy with that. I've just stuck this stuff here just to protect that edge until I figure out what I'm going to do for a boot seal. Now I'm going to try and put this on without scratching everything. I'm here by myself, so see how we go. Let's put the badge on, boots on. Whole thing's on, lines up really nice. I've had the latch on, I've just pulled that back off and I've just painted it. That little clip thing works perfectly. Need 2 hands to put it down. Is that done? Got away with those. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good. They're better than the ones that got burnt. Yeah, that's what we're using now. Once I get the rubber, that sits down just a fraction further once the latch is on. I'm pretty happy with that. That's done. I've been frigging around with that half the day. So that's done. You know, I've got to work on the motor. Just got to put the latch back on the striker. It's all done that, and like the back of this was badly smashed. Even this moulding here was smashed. I fixed all that. That latch was stuffed that locks that boot down. I had to rebuild all that. The whole back panel should have been thrown in the bin. The boot, there's no way that boot should have been fixed, but we can never tell it was even damaged. It's come up really good. I'm getting into painting this roof soon. I wanted to paint it black. I said to Matt, I'm painting it black, I don't care what you say. But he wanted to paint it white. And since I've seen a couple that are all white, they actually do look pretty good. I've got the black paint, so it's getting painted black. But if we change it, we change it. I like the look of the black and the white, so we'll see. They do look good all white, I'll give Matt that. What we're going to have to do in the future is get a new one of them. It's just a bit grubby. That whole thing, if we get one. And they do have a reverse light. It just looks a bit plain at the back. It doesn't have the bumper on and the number plate, but once we get these mouldings on here, the roof and everything, but they have, when the opportunity comes to buy a good set of reverse lights, we'll get them. The wires are there, I've just hit them. So I'm just going to, today, I'm just going to fix these little things that stick out for the bumper bars and get them painted. And that's it. I've got to get back onto the engine. I just finished mowing out the back. That took me 2 hours. I'm stuffed. Anyway, that's it for now, except I'm going to go and just repair those little things that bolt there for the bumper bars and paint them black so I can put them on. Just caught this thing in the shed. I'm just going to let it go down here. It's just a water dragon. Just let him go here. He's not dead. He's just pretending to be dead. Keep moving. Yeah, it's just pretending to be dead. It'll take off. Come on, get going. Go. There's a little post that hold the side of the bumper. I've just got the new screws, bolts ready to go. That's all done. I probably will put on the trim soon. There's nothing really stopping me from putting that trim on. So I will get that down soon, but now I've just got to get onto the engine. Because I really want to get this roof done. I want to get that down and start doing it. I may have to make a little stand for it or something, but we'll see. Just want to get one of these cars out of here. That grey car, that's for sale. I want to get rid of that. But now I'll take it up the top and park it in the garage up top. So I put that stuff on there. Got it on the back here. I put it up here as well on each side. Cleaned it all out. Roughed it up with some 36. Just did the best I can. That's been sitting there for 4 or 5 days, so it's fully cured. What I'm going to do now, I've been advised by people that know these cars quite well to use this stuff. And like, I'm not going to buy another one of these gaskets. It looks exactly the same as it was when it was new. But if I put a new gasket there and it still leaks, it's a waste of a gasket. There's 80 something euros, and I've got to get it from Germany. So I'm just going to put it together and see if it leaks. If it doesn't leak and it runs fine, I'm going to leave it. If it doesn't leak and something else is wrong, I'll sort it out then. But I want to put that aviation stuff on this surface here and on the head gasket. One guy told me to put it on both sides of the head gasket. I'm not sure if I'll do that. I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll see. Head's back on. It actually looks factory out. That's how they do it in the factory. It looks just like that. So I put that stuff, I didn't film it because I wanted to do it quick. I only put that Permatex stuff on the underside of the head gasket. I didn't put it on the top. I just don't think it's necessary to put it on the top. Like the top of the head's all smooth and I can't see how it would leak there. But if it does, it does. But I'm basically doing this just to see if it leaks. If that leaks, that leaks. If it leaks under there, and I'm pretty sure the drip on this side was this gasket. I'm going to use that Permatex on both sides of this gasket. But that's enough for today. I've got it to where I wanted it to be. Tomorrow I might even put the cams on. I'm just going to put the water pump on, the housing here, and this, and stick the radiator on and see if it leaks. That's what I'm doing. If it doesn't leak, then I'll put the cams and stuff on. Okay, it's the next day. It's 8th of January. It's Elvis's birthday today. What I'm thinking of doing, or what I'm going to do next, is put these on. But I've got the same gasket. It's okay, I dried it out. But I reckon that gasket's the wrong material. Like it's too porous. The coolant just seeps straight through it. Anyway, I'm going to use that gasket sealant stuff. That. The Permatex. I'm going to put it on the intake gasket. It's not something you'd normally do, is put stuff on an intake gasket as far as I know. But I've got no choice because when the coolant just runs through here, like there's your intake there, but this is coolant, this stuff. And I don't want coolant dripping into here. So I'm going to be putting that stuff on here. I'm going to be putting it on the gasket on both sides, and I'm going to put it on that. I hope it doesn't leak because it's going to be a pain to get it back off, but it will destroy the gasket. Anyway, we'll see what happens. There's the intake gasket. Like I said, I'm going to put that Permatex on that. So I've just decided to draw one out I've traced over that just in case I need one. I'll be able to make it out of that stuff. Another thing, I've decided not to use these nuts. They're not very deep, the thread. These are the original ones. They're wider, so I'm going to use them. I'll be able to get them a bit tighter. But I'm going to buy deep thread nuts. I've found some online. I can get them 18 mil. I don't need them that big. I can get them about 10 mil. But I can only find them in bright. I can't get them in stainless. So I'll buy one or the other. Just for now, I'm using these original nuts. I've cleaned them up. And I'll be able to torque them down a bit better. It may have not quite have been on tight enough. That could have been one of the things. I'm not 100% sure there, but I'm not using them. Do buy this gasket off old mate over there. Just check it lines up, because I had to cut a bit out of there. See how that wasn't even getting any. I think it feeds air, and this end one as well. I had to cut a bit out of that just so I can get. I'm pretty sure that forces air down into there. But whatever, those holes are there for a reason. It shouldn't be blocked. Like that one was pretty much blocked. Now this one here, I might even. You know, it's got to be up like that. You know, just got to be careful how it gets put on. But I cut a bit out of that and that, just to be sure. Carbies on, they're on better than they were. That stuff, it's sort of like paint. It's not like normal silicone. It's a special sort of a sealer stuff. Anyway, what I've decided, I'm going to put this thermostat housing on next, and the water pump be going on. But I've decided I'll probably throw the cams on and set the timing, and then I can tighten this nut up, because I want to put the radiator on pretty much next, really. But I'm going to tighten that nut up, so then I don't have to take a radiator back off to tighten that up. If I tighten that now, it'll move the top dead center. So I'll get that done. It doesn't matter if it moves. That's pretty much all I'm going to do today. I'm not going to put coolant in it tomorrow either. I want to let this stuff here dry for at least a couple of days. So tomorrow I will put on this housing, the water pump. I might put that on before I go up actually, this housing. The water pump, the cover here. And I'll put the radiator and stuff on. That's it. Because I did mark the chain. See, I've got a little mark there. There's a little mark in there. Can't really see it, but that's marked that link, and I know that bottom link is lined up with here. You got to remember this motor's on a lean, so the thing's over here. It's not down here. It's over here. And I know that's all lined up, that motor. Anyway, that's pretty much all I'm doing for today. Tomorrow, like I said, I'll just put on those few bits: the radiator, water pump. Now I might probably put on this cover, but I don't know if I'll put any glue here, because just in case I've got to take it back off. But that's enough for today. Okay, Thursday here now. I'm going to start putting this stuff on and put the radiator on. And I'm still going to wait another day or two before I put any coolant in it. I want to just give these gaskets here and whatever just a bit more time to dry. It's easier for me to put the alternator on and this belt and stuff before I put the radiator on. You know, if it leaks again, I'll just have to deal with it. It's not really that hard to pull it apart. It's just, you know, you don't really want to just keep undoing stuff and doing it back up all the time. Okay, I haven't been videoing this as I go. I thought the videos are just too long if I video all this stuff. Radiator's in, thermostat housing's in. Alternator, the belt's in, that's tight. Exhaust's back on, starter's back on. If you ever got to build one of these things, put the headers on before the starter. Freaking hell, I didn't think I was going to get it on. If it is possible, it's just a pain, real pain. So I'll probably put this thing on next. I may as well glue it on, I suppose. I'm pretty confident it's not going to leak, but that doesn't mean, it's not. You know, if it leaks after that, I'm really going to have to figure out what's going on, because I've done everything I can to make sure that doesn't leak. Okay, back on the car. It's Friday. I started late today, so I'm late working on this. I'm just going to peel this stuff off. Get that off. I'm going to put the distributor on. the plug leads, battery's going in, the coil, I'll set all that back up, so I'm going to restart it. I'll throw the oil in it today, but I'm just going to wait another day before I put the coolant in it. The whole thing's back together, ready to fire over. I just haven't put the coolant in it yet, so I'm going to do that tomorrow. I've still got to make sure that this is a 5 psi cap. It's actually 7. It's got 7 written on it. It may do, but I want to get a 5. Anyway, I'll pour the coolant in it tomorrow. I just want to give it a little bit more time. I've got the oil in it. At least that's not leaking. Right, see what happens tomorrow. If I pour the coolant in, there's no leaks, you can move forward. Okay, it's Monday now. We've had a bit of flood here over the weekend, but not really, but it's flooding not far from here. And yeah, I've just had to clean up a heap of stuff and I'm covered in sweat. But the time has come to pour this coolant in this engine and see what happens. I've just been putting it off because I don't want it to leak. I'll take this off so I can see if it's leaking around that spark plug hole. Well, I'm just going to start pouring the coolant in it. I'll just put this down for now. I've just got to take that off. I've put 3 litres in it so far. So far nothing. I can't see any coolant anywhere, which is good. That's what I want. I mean, yeah, I've got to admit I am a bit nervous. Just I don't want to pull it apart again. Needs a bit of stuff on it down there. Anyway, I'll just keep going. That's how much I've put in. I'll just fill it up. The way I tapped around that with a little punch, like a centre punch thing, and another punch that I used, the guy at the head shop told me to do that. I did that before I put this stuff here. That more than likely would have fixed it. That's what he reckoned. But I've just put this here as well. But so far so good. I've mixed up another litre. I think I said before I'm using this coolant here. This is about the best coolant you can get. This yellow stuff. But never mix it with straight water. Always use demineralised water, especially in an aluminium engine. Never put water in it. Anyway, I'm about to pour that in it and it'll be pretty close to full then. Alright, it's full of coolant. So far so good. She's dry as a bone. Not one leak, not one drip anywhere. Up in there's dry. You can see that grey bit at the end. That flooded that spark plug and I didn't notice it. Of course, I've had this cover on for starters. At the back was dripping. There's nothing. This was pooling down in here. Down in there was pooling with coolant. That was full. That's not there. Like I said before, the first thing I noticed dripping was the housing for the water pump. It's absolutely dry as a bone. And that's how I want it. I do not want any leaks. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it now overnight. I'll come back in the morning and hopefully there's no coolant on the ground. I don't see why there should be. It's done right this time. If you're building one of these engines, I'd do what I did. Put that Permatech stuff on the bottom side of the head gasket and along the top of the liners. And also the here. It'll make it hard to get it off in the future, but whatever. I actually made a copy of that, so if I've got to make one, I've got it over there. I've got to just cut it out. Anyway, I'm really relieved. I've got to admit, I am really relieved. It's the next day. Completely dry. He's bone dry in there. Bone dry there. Bone dry up in there. And it's bone dry in there. There's nothing on the floor. Not one drop. That's what I wanted. No more leaks. Anyway, a bit later on I'm going to give it a start and then it's time to get the body on. I'm going to go for a swim right now. Okay, I just fired it up and it's still running a bit rough, but I've checked all the spark. I've got spark at all the spark plugs. There's got to be something wrong with this carby. The spark plug's dry. So I must have made a mistake with that carburetor. I don't know what it could be, but I'm going to have to pull that back off and pull it back apart and see what's going on, because it's not getting fuel to the number one cylinder. And it's just running like it was before. Right, I've taken this off, but I've found something what's wrong with this carby. This here is where the fuel comes in, right? These four things here. And it has these little O-rings here, right? There's one missing for starters, but that's not the problem. The problem is on this one, this was turned sideways, and it was in there like that, and it was blocking the hole. For some reason, I don't know how that happened. I may have done it when I put it together, and one of them was missing. So what I'm going to do, I really don't see what that does. So I'm going to put it together without these O-rings. I've got to go down to Ballina tomorrow. I'll see if I can get these O-rings. I'm just going to put it back together, see how it runs without it. Okay, you see that, I suppose. Give it another try. I haven't got those O-rings in there. I'll get some tomorrow. Let's see. What's this thing? Number one plug, it's wet, but it doesn't look like it's firing still. It's getting fuel. That's wet. There's number three. Still a bit hot. You can see it's black. So for some reason that hole's still not firing. It's getting fuel. I will put those O-rings in it. I just got to get. I've only got three for some reason. I'll get more tomorrow, but I'm find out why that doesn't seem to be firing that hole. It's got spark. That's odd. Alright, I'll just keep going. I've just cleaned these carbies out, just popped the bowls off the bottom and blew out the jets and stuff. But these here, these things here, it's got that O-ring, that's where the fuel comes in, but it has, for some reason there's an O-ring that goes in that O-ring. But I've had that one there spun sideways and blocked the fuel flow. One of them was missing. That one was still in, and the other one was in the hole in this thing. It went into here. I had to dig it out. So I don't know where the other one went. I don't think they're necessary. Does anyone know these Hondas are they supposed to be there? I can't even remember where I got the idea of putting that in there. Anyway, it's there now. So anyway, I'm going to put it back together. I can't see anything I've done there is going to change the way it's running. I've tested the compression. It's got heaps of compression. It's not down on compression. So if that doesn't fix it, there's something wrong with this distributor. That's what I reckon. I'm just going to put up a video just mainly to get the footage off this phone. It's full. But I've got this thing running. It seems to be not leaking, or at least right now it's not anyway. I'm probably going to pull this off tomorrow and re-torque down the head. That means I've got to undo a bit of stuff. It's still only running on 3 cylinders, and I'm not sure why. It seems like it's got spark, it seems like it's getting fuel, and it's got really good compression. Like, I'll give it a compression test, there's no worries about that. So yeah, I'm just putting up a video for now. But where the fuel flows in, there's those wide O-rings, and then an O-ring goes inside that. There's 4 of them, right? I don't think it needs those little O-rings in the middle. Does anyone know anything about that? If they do, let me know. I really can't see why they're there. They do restrict the flow of the fuel as far as I'm concerned. And like I said earlier, unless I've deleted it, there was 4. Then when I took this off, there was 1 missing. This carby here, with the O-ring had turned sideways and was jammed in the flow hole. Another one was jammed back into this thing, and only one had stayed in place. And like I said, it ate one somewhere. The carbies are full of fuel, so it's getting fuel. The spark plug's wet. It's getting spark. Like this, it's got good spark. I've tested all these leads 10 times. Well, not 10 times. I've tested them 3 times. I've swapped spark plugs around, and unless this distributor's playing up, I'm not sure. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to put up a video, and I'll try a few things tomorrow. But I've got to get this thing running on all 4 cylinders. Considering it's running only on 3, it's running good. Like I've had it running. I start straight away. I've had it running. Pull the number 1 lead off, and nothing changes. Put it back on, nothing changes. Pull 2 off, it starts to cut out. That's not firing, that cylinder. And I just haven't been able to figure out why. Anyway, thanks for that.